Hey, let's talk about a very common school-home gap. They're doing great at school, and at home, they're a bit of a disaster, right? Kids can look completely different from school to home, vice versa. We all know that, right? If you're hearing from the school, hey, they're doing great here, their grades look good, behavior is not an issue, we're not really seeing ADHD here, and then you go home and after school meltdowns and homework wars and uh, your kid is done by 4 p.m., right? We need to pay attention to that. That's really important. So that disconnect that we're seeing, that discrepancy that we're seeing between school and home, that's where kids with ADHD get missed, dismissed, and can fall through the cracks. I'm Katie. I'm a parent and student support specialist, a certified ADHD coach, former special education teacher, and founder of The Connected Student. I help all types of families, some of which have a reality at home that isn't matching what they're doing fine story that they're getting from the school. So let's go ahead and just explore this a little bit. Okay, schools are going to see ADHD one way. Is the child disrupting learning? The answer to that is no, if they're sitting quietly, if they're turning in work, if they're following directions, if they're pulling decent grades. So the school isn't looking at that ADHD inattentive type or the regulation it takes to mask ADHD and other learning difficulties as well. So schools are set up to notice behaviors that interrupt adults, not that kid that spaces out a lot or the masking that it takes to actually regulate their behaviors in school. And at home, parents, that might be where the truth is coming out. You might see some super common signs, such as huge emotional reactions after school, or that simple task taking way too long, or explosive reactions to small changes, or total shutdown. Just their brain is completely done at this point. You may see some less common signs as well, such as they're micro-controlling adults. So I need you to change the way you said that word, or stand in that exact spot, okay? Or hyper-focus on organizing but not doing, or memory that seems selective but it isn't. So they consistently forget daily routines and expectations, but they remember that comment from 3 months ago. Or physical symptoms, stomach aches, headaches, nausea, or I don't feel well. And then you take these to the school and the school says, we don't see that here. And whether or not they know it, what they're really saying is, we see the mask, we don't see the cost. Masking isn't thriving, and every kid that has ADHD is going to mask in one way or another, just depending on what type of ADHD they have. Our kiddos that are hyperactive, they know exactly what they're doing when they're masking. And this might look like restraining themselves in their seats so they don't jump out, biting their tongue at every impulsive comments, constantly scanning the room for a teacher cue before they do make an impulsive move, for example. And our inattentive type kiddos, they do this masking more on autopilot. And that might look like nodding through instructions that they half missed, or copying the kid next to them to fake engagement, or people pleasing to fly under the radar, to be invisible. And what's going on inside is heartbreaking. And that is a kiddo that's grinding through focus while panic and perfectionism is rising inside of them, or over controlling like every twitch that they might have to get that good kid status, or staying silent while their brain is actually screaming out for a reset. And this is not self-regulation. This is a nervous system that is locked in survival mode. And what comes later is a really high bill, and it's internal anxiety that's just not going to quit. It's emotional burnout by middle school. It's avoidance of anything that resembles effort. And eventually it's a full system crash. So it's school refusal, dropping grades, sudden depression. And no one connects the dots back to those years of silent endurance. Grades are a trap, and grades are absolute trash at measuring the impact of ADHD. And I can attest to that. I live it. And my inattentive type ADHD has taken massive supports just for me to function. And my grades never told that story. So a kid can be completely brilliant, pulling A's and B's, and still be totally underwater just from the silent effort that it takes for them to sit there and produce, right? It's ADHD has nothing to do with intelligence. It's not about that. It's about the sheer energy that it drains from someone to focus when their brain just isn't going to cooperate. It's starting any new task and it feeling like climbing a mountain. It's finishing anything without constant derailment or forgetting half the steps. It's needing twice the scaffolding as anyone else, just to show what we know. And the schools see a final paper and cool, mission accomplished. But the school doesn't ask, what impact did this have on this kid for them to pull a C on this paper? The emotional, physical, neurological impact, what was it? That question isn't asked. We just move on. Instead of how are they behaving, schools need to be asking questions like, how much effort is it taking for this child? How long can they sustain before they crash? What happens when structures and supports drop away at home, over break, long-term assignments, that type of thing? What does true regulation look like for this kid, and not just quiet compliance? Support for ADHD of any kind is not about fixing behavior. It's about designing environments that don't constantly overload the nervous system. So if you are seeing a discrepancy from school, they're fine, to home, something might be up, or you're saying to yourself, this is costing my kiddo way too much, trust what you're seeing. That discrepancy is good information. And if you need some help dissecting all of this information or trying to come up with a plan or speaking the school's language, shoot me an email at hello@theconnectedstudent.com and let's chat. Thanks, guys.